Hi there and welcome to Daisy Lane Design. Today I have a short tutorial for you showing you how I make my fabric bag handles. Fabric bag handles are a quick and easy design element that you can add to just about any project. It gives it a more finished and polished look and are great for project bags, the zippers around a wallet, or even just adding to your keys. What you will need for this project is a length of fabric, a metal swivel hook, your ironing board, and an iron, of course your sewing machine and thread. And the metal swivel hooks come in a variety of styles and also sizes, and so you need to determine what you're going to use and what's best for your project. But I am using today a push gate swivel hook, which just means you push on it and it opens. And the opening at the bottom is 1 inch across. I'll link below the shop that I like on Etsy that I buy mine from. They're good quality and good price, and I use them for all of my bags. Your fabric is going to be a different width depending on what size swivel hook you use. I use 20 inches in length this way, and for a 1 inch hook, I'm using 4 inches wide. So how I came up with that number is 1 inch folded double would mean 2 inches. And then I add that same width, the 1 inch, to each side to just give the fabric a little bit more thickness and sturdiness. So for instance, if I was using on this guy here for my wallet, this opening here is a 1/2 inch instead of a 1 inch opening. And so I took my half and I doubled it, which makes 1 inch. And then I added a half to either side, which is another inch. So I started, for a 1/2 inch one, I started with 2 inches across. And for a 1 inch one, I start with 4 inches across. Once we start putting it together, it'll make a little bit more sense. But I just wanted to point out that different sizes on the swivel hooks would require different widths on your fabric. So we'll start by bringing the long edges together with the wrong sides of the fabric facing. So already we've gone from 4 inches to 2 inches. I'm using a hot iron with some steam to make a nice crisp edge on that folded bottom. Okay. Now open it back up and use this center fold as a guide to bring my top raw edge and my bottom raw edge into the center. So that's where I'm getting my 3rd and 4th inch from on my fabric cut. So I'll just go back over with my iron and do the same for the bottom. And lastly, bring the folds together so that all the raw edges are to the inside. And that's how you make 4 inches into a 1 inch strap. Now before I do any sewing, I'm going to thread my strap through the bottom of my swivel hook and bring the raw edges together. So you can see I haven't twisted my strap in any way. I've kept everything flat, and I'm just bringing my raw edges together. And from this point, I'm going to open everything back up just across this short edge so that I can stitch it closed there. So open up the center fold, keep that pinched together, open up the raw edge fold. And this can be a little tricky because everything below it is folded, so if you want to put pins in, that would definitely be helpful. But then I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and just stitch across this short edge with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You can see right there, I've used a navy blue thread so that it would show up well on the camera. And I'm just going to take a minute to snip my threads. Of course, with any seam when we're sewing, I back tacked at the beginning and the end so that my seam wouldn't unravel. And then I'm just going to open up that seam and lay it flat. You can either finger press this or go back over it with your iron, but finger pressing usually works just fine. And then using our folds from before as a guide, fold all of my raw edges back to where they were and give my handle a little tug, which should put everything back in its place. But it's not a bad idea to iron once more, just pressing everything down. Oop. All that's left now is some top stitching and a couple extra threads to trim, and our handle will be done. So we'll take it over to the machine and show you how we finish it up. Here we are over at my machine. You can see I've removed my accessories drawer because I am going to loop my strap around the tray of my machine so that it's easier to sew. And I'm going to sew the closed folded edge first. This is the open folded edge. And the reason I like to do that is because it helps reduce twisting or bunching of the fabric. So I am going to set my stitch length a little bit longer and start where my join is and just stitch all the way around the closed folded edge of my strap. The only thing to consider here is to make sure if my clasp gets in the way to just pull it out of the way. You can see we have a nice finished edge close to the fold, and now I'm just going to turn it and repeat it for the other side. I've trimmed all of my threads away from where I was stitching, and the only thing I like to do is, before being done, is I don't like this to swivel around like that, and so I will just find the spot where we've joined our fabrics to begin with and position it down close towards the bottom of the swivel. And you can either stitch a rectangle around that or just two lines, but I just like to stitch this in place so that this is nice and secure and it doesn't slide around on my wrist. I'll do that really quick and we'll be all done. Alright, you can see where I used the edges of my top stitching as a guide and just made a simple rectangle around the area so that my wrist strap stays in place. But you can see how nice and flush it lays, and it's ready to be added to a bag. So that's it, you guys. A nice and simple project to add a finishing touch to any of your bags with a long zipper pull. Please let me know if you choose to make some of these for your bags and projects. I'd love to see you. You can tag me on Instagram at DaisyLeanDesign or hashtag DaisyLeanDesign and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. As far as information goes about those, you can subscribe, hit that subscribe button and like, and you'll get alerts when more come out. Have a great day.